As humans, being honest with ourselves about our own flaws is incredibly difficult. Commonly, it's far easier to identify other people's flawed thinking than our own. Nevertheless, to be a successful investor requires you to commit to a sufficient degree of self-awareness. This is because your success as an investor will, to a large extent, be determined by the patterns of thinking that you engage in. Cognitive biases represent ways of perceiving the world that may not reflect reality. As an investor, it is important for you to be aware of how they can function to distort reality. Moreover, recognizing their existence can enable you to become wiser, allowing you to learn more about how you think and why you think in particular ways. There are numerous cognitive biases that affect investors. However, in this video, we'll be exploring loss aversion. Before we begin, let me remind you that I have created many other cognitive biases videos for you to learn from and develop as an investor. Okay, now on to loss aversion. Are you a sports fan? Do you support a football team, a basketball team, or some other sporting team? If you do, then undoubtedly you would have experienced how terrible it feels when your team loses. Doesn't the feeling of loss always seem to hurt more than the amazing feeling you get when your team wins? Naturally, as a devout football fan, I have experienced the pain of loss on many occasions. It's difficult to forget about those losses. Curiously, it appears far easier to recall the heartbreak than the successes. Quite simply, loss aversion can be defined as the fear of bad things occurring. Loss aversion has played a key role in the evolution of the human species. In ancient times, the potential for food to become scarce was fatal. Therefore, a temperament towards avoiding loss is what caused our ancient ancestors to gather their belongings and then hunt and scavenge in a new spot. Moreover, significant studies have demonstrated that humans care a great deal more about avoiding loss than we do about attaining gain. Writing in the Scientific American, Dr. Russell Poldrack and his team discovered that the brain regions that process value and reward may be silenced more when we evaluate a potential loss than they are activated when we assess a similar-sized gain. The researchers found that the reactions in their subjects' brains were stronger when responding to possible losses than to gains. The researchers labeled this neural loss aversion. Numerous studies have shown that humans regret losses around 2.5 times more than gains make us feel good. The connections that we can make between loss aversion and investing are clear. During a sustained period of market volatility, or perhaps even a bear market, a significant number of investors choose to sell their stock positions as the market starts to dip, thereby locking in losses rather than avoiding them altogether by staying the course. In such a scenario in which loss aversion compels investors to revert to cash, we can plainly see evidence of market timing. This is because these very same investors will likely want to re-enter the market when things start to look better. However, how can these investors know precisely the right time to re-enter? The short answer: they don't. No one possesses a crystal ball. Moreover, while these investors sit on the sidelines, there's a strong possibility that they would have missed out on many of the big gains that occur when the market begins to make its inevitable turn upwards. For some individuals, the fear of loss looms large, and they may choose to never invest at all. While such people may deem this choice as a form of security, this security comes with a significantly high cost. The irony is that although they may deem their actions to be of sound judgment, decisions such as this are unsound once the effects of inflation are taken into consideration. The decision to allow your cash to stagnate, to not utilize it in the stock market, will inevitably, due to the effects of inflation, lead to an erosion of your purchasing power. To keep up to date with the latest content from the Sloth Investor, whether this be my podcast or other video content, please remember to subscribe to this channel.